Hello and welcome to another Your Partnerships Meets. Can get my teeth back in. Kate from, I'm going to say it wrong. So Kaboo?
Caribou.
Caribou. The animal. I got it wrong. The caribou.
It's actually Swahili.
It's spelled different though than the caribou.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think lots of people try and spell it with a C. It's Swahili, so the most common language in Kenya, and it means kind of you're welcome, come closer.
Excellent. We didn't have this conversation. We did talk beforehand, and what you do is so interesting because you're a psychologist, but for businesses.
Exactly.
So that's why it's good to have you on a business show. So tell these great people a little bit more about, and you're a Cornish girl returning home as well.
I am.
So tell them about your journey and what you're doing and how you're going to help so many Cornish businesses.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll start with Caribou Coaching, which is, as you say, a blend of business psychology, which is not mental health in the workplace. It really is, how do people be more productive in the workplace? How do they feel happier in the workplace? And so it's an employee engagement consultancy supporting businesses to bring out the best in their people, bring their people along for the ride, whether that's looking at organizational wide culture transformation or supporting specific groups of employees or supporting a leadership team to feel.
I love that you said the culture, because I'm hearing that a lot lately about, making sure the culture is right. And, what's interesting, I think most business people know this, or business owners, I should say, know this, but what is your most valuable asset in any business? And it's your people.
The people, every time.
Every single time. We get all this, all the news about AIs and all this other stuff and everything, but it doesn't matter what it is, it's the people. Absolutely. And so it's vital what you do to be able to, I guess the main thing is, like I would say, because I've done different management roles and everything, and what must be frustrating for you sometimes is if the management doesn't buy in totally. So the people might get it, but if the structure doesn't completely go together. But explain that a little bit, how that works.
Yeah. So I think often businesses think, especially in the current economic situation, think, our people are fine. They'll tell me if they need something. They'll tell me if they need more of something, and they're engaged because they're not telling us. Yeah. And so I think when you have an organization that maybe isn't tapping into what is actually going on in their employees' minds, in their work days, all of those little niggles, those niggles can grow, and we call it negative contagion. And it means that, any disengaged employees can actively encourage other employees to be disengaged. Yeah. And they might be turning up to work, they might be doing work, but actually, are they being as productive or as happy as they possibly could be? And the return on investment is huge. So at a time when you're tightening your purse strings and thinking that's the first thing that can go, actually it can make all the difference, because
absolutely. And that one bad team member can just, it's amazing. It's same difference in having a great one that brings them up. You have a bad one brings them down, but but 9 out of 10, it's not a bad person. It's it's once again, it's that whole culture and we were talking earlier before as well about how when a person goes for a job anyway, it's about them interviewing the job just as much. I mean, they need to both be happy. Otherwise, what's the relationship going to be? Absolutely. Like you said earlier, it's like a romantic relationship, if it's not.
Yeah. It needs to be right. And I think, absolutely, I often say to my private clients when I do one-to-one work and they come to me for interview coaching, I'll say, this is as much about you figuring out, asking those questions, ascertaining whether it's the right culture, right people. I always say to people, walk away from it like you would a date. How have they made you feel? How have they made you think more? Have they encouraged you? Have they celebrated you? Because it's a good indication of whether it's the right culture fit for you. And every person's different. So it's not necessarily a bad thing if you walk away from it saying, that's not for me.
You hurt some scars when you talked about walking away from date. I had that many a times. But anyway. So how do people actually approach you? What size business? I know you're doing some work for British Airways, we talked about earlier and everything. But, how do people engage with you is I guess what I want to say.
Yeah, good question. Absolutely. So I work with organizations as a whole, or just with teams, or with individuals as well. So whatever capacity, I'm very bespoke. In coaching, we call it person-centered. So I have a lot of experience that I can offer, but I also really want to make sure it's the right thing for the client that comes to me. So yeah, reach out to me, have a conversation. I can share my email, and I'm really open to.
We'll have all the
figuring
links
it
on
out.
the video as well,
Okay,
so they
nice.
get a hold of you. And I think one thing, some people watching this video may be a little bit scared as well, because we're saying things like British Airways and things, but you know, your prices are varied
Absolutely.
upon what you do, and your prices are pretty much bespoke on what you're doing for the piece of work as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely, they are very bespoke, and I think because I operate I'm a limited business, but as a sole trader, I'm able to really scale my prices in line with the organizations I'm working with. And down here, I'll have conversations with people, and they'll say like, it's just an expense we can't afford. And then when I talk about my pricing, they're like,
oh, wait a minute.
it's a no-brainer. You know, this isn't, you know, it's going to make such a huge difference for not that much money.
So how does it feel to be back in Cornwall as well?
It feels so. It's been an incredible experience. I think I forgot how much it rained. I think
Well, but see, by the time this video goes out, it'll probably be bright and shiny.
so true. Yeah, spring will have sprung. Yeah, I'm sure.
But it wouldn't be so beautiful and green if it didn't rain. So
No,
just
so
remember
true.
that. Just
And
remember that.
Cornwall has always had my heart, so it's great to be back. I think the other thing that that I'm loving is really understanding how different the Cornish markets are when it comes to businesses. And I think that's why right now I'm really just interested in understanding what are those specific challenges and what are the solutions, rather than coming in and saying, this is the work I've done for British Airways, Saudi Aramco, Novartis, and assuming that they will be the right solutions for the problems down here.
Yeah, you're changing your methods and everything about the audience that you have, which is the right way to do it. So yeah, I mean, you know, as we were talking earlier before as well, with my daughter studying psychology, I understand totally well about how, you know, how it's so important. And I've told her, and I'm sure you probably got told the same, is that, I mean, psychology itself you can use in any business aspect. So
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you got to, if you understand people, then you understand, you know, the whole process of how it all works. Because, yeah.
And I think nowadays, when well-being in the workplace is such a big one, it's often people hear psychologist and they'll be like, oh yeah, mental health, or whereas the reality is, what I believe that I do is really that precursor. You know, if you're engaging your employees and preventing burnout because you're giving them a person as a coach to talk to, or improving communication in an organization, then hopefully you're not going to have as many people out sick with mental health challenges.
You're the first aid kit,
exactly,
not the ambulance.
Yeah, exactly. Or even before the first aid kit. It's like
either way. You're nutritionist and all those things. We can go over a million different things. But funny enough, we've got a thing that we're working on now. Talking about just that with mental health and everything, and they talk about it being the 4 stages, being, you know, of course, just like terminal cancer, you know, being stage 4 and everything. It's the same thing with the mental, and that's what you're doing. Is you're helping to keep the entire workforce and employees and the management structure into that level 1. Hopefully, I mean, 1 being perfect, but you know, or about 1 or 2, and keep them talking and engaging the right way. So
absolutely. And I think we talk a lot about resilience, in like organizational resilience, individual resilience, and I think that it's pointless to think about resilience as an organization unless you're thinking about individual resilience and how that factors in. And someone likened it recently to a leadership team or a CEO being a gardener, and you know, giving each of their employees what they need and seeing the differences. You know, not everything in your garden's going to need to be watered the whole time or going to need sun all of the time. So allowing those strengths to really shine, and that's going to prevent, you know, that exactly, keep it at that stage 1.
Cool. Excellent. Well, I love it. It's been great talking with you.
And you.
Look forward to having you back in again, and look forward to more people in the network meeting you as well, because I know you can help so many people. So
thank you.
If you like what you've heard from Kate and want to learn more, go on the links on this video. And once again, thanks for meeting us here at Your Partnerships Meets.
Thank you so much,
See you again soon. Thank you. Oh, and before we wrap, thank you to Corker Media for having us out here. Thank you. What first time you've been out in the studio?
It is, yeah.
So what do you think?
It's so beautiful. I was just saying to Shane, it felt like I was driving onto a farm.
Yeah,
I love it.
It was
true
a farm.
Cornish style. Yeah.
But it's beautiful out here. I mean, it'd be good when they finish it, and that's his line. I'm just using it. So anyway, all right. Thank you very much. See you next time. Cheers.